Ever since a baby, I've been trying to get away, trying to lock in the guap, trying to block with the pain. I'm a blind little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the vibes and I'm copping the pain. We off to the stars to a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitch is a jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching and ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what your boss, I got richer than Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like the ran do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, not taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay, he's Maddie, and we are fucking back, people. And Maddie, it just dawned on me, I know too many rappers that I need to get us a new song for this season.
Yeah, get a new song, get a new rapper on, and we can showcase some more people. So I mean, if you're watching and you want to make a theme tune for us, then please do. That'd be fun. Great first comment to be back to. Some spotted. Do you know what? I've never had it. Do you know what? I've never had it. I've never seen it. I'm convinced it's an American invention to make British people look stupid.
Well, and it's not even dick.
I know it exists.
But it's not even dick. That's the thing. Like, I forget what it is, but I remember Ramsey explaining it on one of the shows, and it's not even dick. So the names you guys come up with. Like, I sent you that message once. You guys eat some wild shit in Wales. Some wild name shit in Wales. I'll have to remember.
Yeah, it's lava bread.
No, it was something like
bread.
It was something, if I remember correctly, that was named slang for gay people in it. But
I feel like I don't want to say it on here. We
no,
swear
go ahead.
on here. We swear on here, don't we? Yeah, it's faggots, which
That's
is
it.
like I forget what it is. It's like a little seafood thing.
Yeah, I messaged you like this is the wildest shit ever because Beard was eating them on Beard meat Beard meats food or whatever.
Yeah, in the Northeast we call them. I think they're cockles in the Northeast as well. So it's faggots in South Wales and it's cockles in the Northeast.
Yeah, pronounce that really good because I don't know if you know, but that sounded like you said cockled, and I don't know if you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, I know what that is, but cockles.
Yeah,
cockles.
Yeah, okay.
Still messed up. Still equally as messed up.
We started out this show just awesome. Welcome to the new season. It's 2025 NFL football. We are back, and Maddie's got something for us today. Why don't you explain it because you'll do a better job than I do.
Yeah, so good to be back. Good to be back starting out a new season after taking a little summer break. I'm in China right now. So if I'm currently using a VPN to talk to you, so could be disappeared by the Chinese government at any point.
Yeah, Maddie gonna get arrested real quick, but that's all right.
Yeah, so just look out for me. But today we're going to be doing our NFC tier list rankings. So what that means is we're going to go through all the NFC teams and we're going to rank their preseason and off-season moves. That doesn't mean who's the best team or where do we think everybody's going to finish. We're just ranking them based on their off-season, coming into this season, the moves that they've made. And the tier list looks like this. So we go through Super Bowl bound. I think with these tier lists, a lot of the time, it is good to have with the tier lists, it is good to have the best team, the team who we still think is going to go to the Super Bowl at the top, no matter what moves they've made. So we'll put whichever team we think is the best team in the NFC at the top. We then go through the most improved, who's made the biggest moves to improve in the NFC. Teams that are definitely better have massively improved. Teams that have solid, so they've had a solid offseason. They made some good moves, but they've not gone anything. They've not gone crazy. Did you do anything, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's, did you actually do anything to get any better, but you haven't got worse? Potentially in trouble. So that's teams where they've lost a lot of players and they've not really recruited well or have gotten worse. So that's just teams that have just clearly gotten worse. And Jay, I nearly called that tier the Dallas Cowboys because of where the Dallas Cowboys are at right now, but we'll get round to them. So Jay, I thought we'd start off in your division, the NFC North, with the Chicago Bears. The major moves that I've got down for them is hiring Ben Johnson as a coach, Zacchaeus as wide receiver, Drew Dalman as center, Deo Adiebo as a defensive end, Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle, Joe Thuney, a guard, and Jonah Jackson at guard as well. Jay, have they added enough help here to help Caleb Williams step up? And how much does the Ben Johnson hire factor into whether they've improved or not improved?
I'm glad you worded it that way because I think they did enough to get better. I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams. I've been watching some stuff, and him and Ben Johnson do not seem to be clicking. That can change. Don't get me wrong. But I hate to say I really love what they did because I fucking don't want the Bears to get better. But I love what they did on that offensive line. But I think we're going to have another team we're talking about offensive line in a minute too. Like, I think that was a big move, though. I think they really upgraded on their offensive line. I think they're going to keep Caleb standing up and not running for his life. I don't like – and I know that they let old receivers go sometimes, but I think Keenan Allen's a guy just for the benefit of your quarterback. You have to keep in that locker room, so I don't like that, but I don't think that kills them. I just think that would have been another cherry on top, keeping him. I'd have put his locker right next to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and I think that Keenan Allen helps a guy like Caleb Williams, apart from the fact of the reason that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson don't really seem to fit, don't really seem to be clicking, is they almost see football in a different way. So Ben Johnson, great system. Like, obviously we talk about this a lot, but every offense has a system and every guy is a system, quarterback and all of those kind of things. But what we mean by that is Ben Johnson puts in the system and all you have to do is just make the reads, hit the numbers. And it's why Jared Goff was perfect in it. It's why Jared Goff works really well in that kind of thing. I almost think like Kirk Cousins and those kind of guys, Dak Prescott works well in a system. Caleb Williams has played hero ball his entire career. Like, that's the way that he plays. So you have these two different ideas of what quarterback play should look like competing against each other. And Keenan Allen is the perfect wide receiver for the system. But Caleb Williams wasn't really looking his way because he was too busy looking downfield to play hero ball and go that way. So I do understand getting rid of him. I do think it would be better to have him there while they get Caleb Williams to fit into the system. I also agree with you, Jay. Obviously, this is without a down being played. But just from the process of what they've done on that offensive line, getting in a guy like Joe Thuney is really important for them. So they've bolstered in the right place for me where they need to, and some help on that defensive end as well was really important for them going into this season. And Jay, Ben Johnson looks like Ben Johnson is the correct process for the hire as well. Obviously, without a down being played, we haven't really seen any professional downs being played with them, but he's the right process for the hire. He was the hottest commodity on the market.
I didn't hear that last part.
He was the hottest commodity, like, on the market. He is. Yeah. He was the right process hire.
I heard that, yeah. And he was. And here's the thing. I don't know if he's got the right quarterback, but we'll see. And the question becomes, can Ben Johnson adapt that system to what Caleb does best, right? Because, I mean, if you really look back on it, there's two different eras of Tom Brady, right? Like, there's the first New England dynasty and the second dynasty. In that first one, it was McDaniels making sure Tom Brady didn't have to play hero ball or do anything like that, just live in the system, execute it, and Tom Brady did it wonderfully, was the best system quarterback. Then he outgrew needing he became the system, right? But that's through growth and being in the league for 100 years. Like, every great quarterback, besides maybe Peyton Manning, has to have a system built around them, where Peyton Manning still needed a system built around him. He just built it around himself.
Yeah, definitely. So, Jay, with the Bears, what are we saying? Are we putting them in solid, definitely better? I feel like definitely better is fine.
Definitely better.
Yeah.
Because they were ass
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, definitely better. The coaching hire is better. No matter, like, the coaching hire was the correct hire, so definitely better, and they've improved that offensive line. So I think that's fair. Jay, moving on to the Detroit Lions. Their major moves are DJ Reed at cornerback, Derek Barnes at linebacker, Marcus Davenport coming in at defensive end, Roy Lopez at D tackle, Rocky Sin at cornerback, Avonte Maddox at cornerback as well. They also have coordinator change, obviously, with Ben Johnson leaving at offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator leaving as well. They've hired John Morton at offensive coordinator and Kelvin Shepard at defensive coordinator. Jay, I think the biggest question for them is, how much will the coordinator losses affect the Lions? Do we like the hires here? Does the loss make them in trouble? What does that mean for their offseason and their prep going into the preseason?
I think it's going to be a big problem. I really do think that Detroit's in trouble with starting over with their coordinators. I think they lost two really, really, really good coaches. They probably lost. I don't know how they'll be as head coaches, but they lost the two best coordinators this offseason. Not that they were the best in the league, but they're for like teams that lost them, right? They lost their best. And I think people can say what they want about Reed. I think it's a downgrade from Davis. I think that loss actually hurts them. And has Rocky Ya-Sin ever shown that he can play? I mean, he came out with all this hype, but has he ever shown he could play in the NFL? Like, not that that he's going to be a top guy and do this.
Top level,
he's your third or fourth corner at best.
Yeah, I would say that Rocky Sin is a good third or fourth corner. If you have Rocky Sin in the building, then okay, but third, fourth, you're relatively happy. You're like, okay.
And Marcus
okay
Davenport, I don't think Marcus Davenport's played a full season in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Marcus Davenport is one of those guys who every time I see his name on a team sheet, I get excited to see it. You know, I'm excited to see Marcus Davenport's name on a team sheet. Sorry?
I'm scorned. That motherfucker. We paid him like $17 million for like 3 games. It was in 2 years. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's just one of those guys. And I'm like, yeah. And then he never really has taken that step up. Like, he's never really made that step. So, I mean, with the way that the Lions have been playing on defense, and the fact you've got Aiden Hutchinson on one side, and they got so just destroyed on their defense through injuries in last season, you do think just adding more and more depth. They have added more players than this. Like, this is just the major moves. Like, they've added more players. They've added a lot more depth. So they have added depth there. Marcus Davenport across from Aiden Hutchinson. That is kind of a tantalizing defensive end. But Jay, I agree with you. I agree with you here. I think the coordinator is going to be a big problem. You lose your best coordinators, and Dan Campbell. This is the problem when you have a coach like Dan Campbell, right? Where they're a manager. They're a manager. They leave the coaching and they leave the coordinating up to the other coaches. They're just like the vibes guy. They make sure everything's going well. They put together the plans with the coordinators. They make sure everybody's going in the same direction. But when you lose those coordinators, you're then really, really losing out. And it's the same like with Sirianni and losing Kellen Moore, but that turned out to be okay with Sirianni, obviously, in the end. So Dan Campbell might prove us wrong here. But that has got to be a regression here. And I agree with you. I don't think they've signed the players to make up for that regression.
I agree with that. And I know I hear Lions fan go, Dan Campbell called plays for a half a year and did really well. He did. But that was under a different system. And he just came in and called the plays. He didn't design the system. He didn't set it up. He fired his coordinator and then just executed the system better than the coordinator, right? And then hired Ben Johnson. I don't know what you do, because I don't think that there's no way they're going to come in and keep Ben Johnson's system, because you're not going to take a coordinator job and not put your own imprint on it. So unless these coordinators hit right away, it's a problem. But I'm also at this point where the Lions are good enough to where I think they got worse, and I still think they have a shot at making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so this is where the list comes in, right? Because, and what we're actually grading on comes in. I'm going to say we kind of have to, the Lions can't be better than did you do anything. I think we're here at potential trouble because of the coordinators and the players that they brought in. I don't think we can say they've definitely gotten worse.
Right.
Because we don't know what the coordinators are going to look like. So I think it's got to be here, right?
I agree.
And potential trouble.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that we think the Bears are gonna be better than the Detroit Lions. We'll do our over-unders before the season starts, and that'll probably even itself out. But just in terms of what they've actually done in the off-season, this is potentially troubling for the Lions because of it's some high-risk stuff.
Hear me out here quick. I think they still have a shot at the Super Bowl, but it's coming from the wild card.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't think they like.
I don't get into it in a different pod. I have them third in the division right now, but we can get into that shit in a different pod.
Yeah, third in the division. Wow.
I think it's a tough fucking division, though. I think
you got three
teams that can really make some fucking noise this year. So, depending on quarterback play for all three of them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. The NFC North has been interesting for quite a few years now, and one of those quarterback, how the quarterback's going to do, Jay, is the Green Bay Packers. So the Green Bay Packers, their major moves are only really Mecole Hardman at wide receiver, Aaron Banks at guard, and Nate Hobbs at cornerback. They also drafted Golden. Thank you. They also drafted Golden as well. And the sounds out of camp is that Golden's playing well, and Jordan Love looks good as well in terms of their sounds out of camp. Jay, how do you rank the Packers? My biggest question is, have they really done enough to injury-proof themselves? Because again, they got derailed by injuries last season, and they did the season before, and they did the season before that.
Well, and again, it goes back to like the 49ers. It becomes a systemic problem. Then it has something to do with the organization, right? They're not doing something correctly, and I don't know what that is. But what I'm hearing from like local reporters, reading, I shouldn't say hearing, they're not coming up and talking to me. but I am hearing from other people, because I'm out in restaurants a lot, right? DoorDashing, and a lot of conversations. Nobody sold that they still have a number one receiver. They think they have a group of number twos.
From what I've seen on it as well, and obviously I'm going from much further away than you are on it, but Golden is a brilliant number two, and that doesn't mean you can't be a number one and have like number one production. It just means you don't have that X receiver on the field, right? It just means you're missing out on that guy who's like, in a game where maybe you've game planned it up wrong, the X's and O's aren't going your way, and all of that kind of stuff. You don't have a guy who can just break it for you. Well, and with a guy like Jordan Love, I do think you need that, because Jordan Love goes a bit hero ball, and his throwing motions are really inconsistent because he always seems to throw off the back foot a lot of the time and stuff like that. So, yeah,
it's why I thought they would be a perfect team to trade for Terry McLaurin. I really did, because you could give up like Watson or Dobbs and some picks, and I thought they could get it done. I hope they don't do it, but that's like a team I thought could make a move. But that's part of the problem with the offseason. They didn't make that move for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got better. I think they like kind of just stayed the same.
I think looking at it, they scream like, to me, they scream like, did you do anything?
Yeah, that's
Like, did you really do anything? Like, what you've done is you've added another number two to your room of number twos, and that's good. Like, that's fine. That's a fine move, and that will put you in solid. but then you still just don't have the number one wide receiver, and you haven't made massive swaves of, like, they've added some depth. Like, I know I've only said 3 major moves there, but they've added a few players in depth, but they desperately need depth because of how injury prone their roster is.
And they're so afraid to trade for somebody. It's ridiculous. Like, I can bash Gutekunst all I want for a lot of shit, but that's one of them that Packer fans have to be just annoyed with, is that you're on the verge of being a team that can make a run as long as Jordan Love is playing decent, and you don't want to trade any future assets to try to make that happen. And it's been the story of the Packers since Ron Wolf left. Like, Ron Wolf traded for Brett Favre, and he got in Reggie White, but after that, they don't want to make these big moves. And it's like teams that make, I mean, we watched the fucking Rams go fuck them picks for like 3 years.
Yeah, and then change, and then change their system again to go get the young guys in, like get the young guys in and do well. And I feel like the Packers draft well.
They do
in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't think they should be too upset with having to give up a first rounder. Like, to me, the Packers don't draft well in the first round, and then they draft much better in the second, third, and fourth round. Like, I'm surprised. It was when they didn't go in for DK Metcalf, I think that's when I was like, okay, I feel like they're just going to go that way of just going for the twos, because there wasn't a lot of noise around them going for DK either. And I think you can do that. Just a team of number 2 wide receivers, you can 100% do that if you're in a system quarterback. Like, if you've got a system way of doing things. Yeah, exactly. So the Tom Brady in that system where the guys are getting schemed open. But Jordan Love isn't that guy, because
even
Jordan
Tom
Love's
Brady
got
had
accuracy. Yeah, exactly. You then have the tight end who becomes your number 1 receiver, your freak receiver. Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on to your team, Jay, the Minnesota Vikings. Let's have a look. Major moves here. Please add in any other moves that you consider to be major as well, but there's a lot for the Vikings. They've been making moves this season. Jonathan Allen at D-tackle, Javon Hargrave at D-tackle, Will Fries at guard, Rondell Moore at wide receiver, Jordan Mason at running back, which I feel like is a really under the radar.
Yeah, and all we did was swap a six for a fifth. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't believe the Cowboys weren't in more on that deal. Jeff Okudah at cornerback, Ryan Kelly at center, and Isaiah Rodgers at cornerback. But Jay, with all those big moves, is the Vikings' biggest move still sticking with JJ Metcalf as the starter?
Absolutely. That was a major move. I'm very sad that Rondell Moore is out for the season. Again, poor guy, rough going of it. But, man, the Vikings' O-line is going to be fucking nasty with Kelly and Fries. You got bookends, and then you turn around and you draft Jackson right away in the first round. Amazing. Shirt up that offensive line. But, man, all I am hearing from Brian Flores is Isaiah Rodgers, Jeff Okudah, Isaiah Rodgers. And he is praising the shit out of both of them. And Justin Jefferson came out yesterday and said, I'm pretty sure Isaiah Rodgers is the fastest guy in the NFL.
And with Brian Flores, I think guys so Jeff Okudah has never lived up to the hype, but is a cornerback ever going to live up to the hype when they're a top 5 pick?
And that's the thing. They're praising him. They're saying, we're getting you're going to see why. Kevin O'Connell said in an interview a week ago, so you already know he's making the roster. They're he said, you're going to see why he was drafted 3rd overall in Brian Flores' defense. Yeah. And I guess that defense, according to insiders, is even more insane this year, and nobody has ever seen anything like it.
Yeah, and I think with a guy like Brian Flores, you just give him freaks and toolsy guys. Am I all right?
No, I said you said you just give him, and I joked and said a blank check because I don't want him going anywhere.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you said mic check. I was like, oh no, it can't be heard.
Sorry, my bad.
The VPN. They've cut me. They've cut me off. They've got through the VPN. But you just give him freaks and you just say build this crazy offense that's just going to completely bewilder quarterbacks. And Jeff Okudah fits that kind of style. And if Isaiah Rodgers is the fastest guy in the NFL, then that's going to be fun to watch as well. Like I'm sure we'll see a couple of corner blitz coming.
Well, and that's
off that.
The thing about Isaiah Rodgers too is when it hit the offseason, they talked to their coaches, and Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell both said there's this look Brian Flores gives you when he is really serious, and he's an intense guy to begin with. And when he brought up Isaiah Rodgers, Kwesi said, like, I didn't even have a choice. I was going to get Isaiah Rodgers. Like, it was he wanted him that bad. But I really think adding Allen and Hargrave to the middle of that pass rush and having two solid D tackles finally is going to change life for that defense.
Yeah, I think for me, that was the biggest takeaway. Like, I think sticking with JJ McCarthy was a big moment for the Vikings, and I think it showed a great statement of intent, because with all rookie like quarterbacks, it is a risk. Like, it is a risk. And JJ McCarthy has a much higher ceiling than Sam Darnold, but he has a much lower floor than Sam Darnold from what we saw last season, right? So
you think Sam Darnold's ever going to play like that again? Because I don't.
I feel like if you put him in the same system again, then there would have been a chance that he would have played. Like, that's what I mean. I guess he doesn't reach that, but there wouldn't have been loads and loads of fall off from there as well. So I feel like with JJ McCarthy, what they're doing there is they're going, okay, like, yeah, we can get to this point with Sam Darnold and we won't have a terrible season and we'll all keep our jobs and that'll be great. But if JJ McCarthy takes off, it's Super Bowl, and that's where we want to be. So I do think that was a huge statement of intent, and I really like that. And I do think hammering the defensive tackles was really important for them, because if you anchor that center of the defensive line, you anchor that center, then you have just even more craziness that can happen outside. It's what I've been desperate for the Cowboys to do for ages. Is just, right, let's just anchor the middle, and then just like we then have these crazy guys like Parsons and Overshown and all of those guys on the outside, but let's just anchor the center. And I really like that. That's what the Vikings have done.
And you're going to see a different offense because they bolstered the offensive line. They brought in Mason. They're going to run the ball a lot more, make it easier on McCarthy. And they love their young tight end. And I think you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets because they're going to go 3, with 3 decent tight ends. I think it's going to be a different team. But for me, I don't know what you think. I think you can move them right up to the most improved.
Yeah, I was going to go for definitely better and then choose the most improved at the end of the show. The Super Bowl bound and the most improved at the end of the show. And we pick the most improved from the definitely better.
Well, you know where I'm sitting, and people can call me a fucking homer, but I truly believe it.
I think it might be difficult to not go with that. Like, I don't think there's loads of teams in the NFC. I feel like the AFC has got definitely better, and the NFC is like, we'll see. But a team that Jay, unfortunately, hasn't definitely got better is the Dallas Cowboys.
I knew where we were
Jay,
going.
The Dallas Cowboys have got they've picked up George Pickens, which I do really like the George Pickens move. I know he's a drama, but I do like him. Solomon Thomas at D tackle, Javonte Williams at running back, Miles Sanders at running back, Paris Campbell at wide receiver, Robert Jones at guard, Dante Fowler at defensive end, Peyton Turner at defensive end, Kaya Elam at cornerback, and Kenneth Murray Jr. at linebacker. But Jay, the biggest story of the Cowboys and why the Cowboys are on the way to not improving is the Micah Parsons issue. And Micah Parsons saying he's requesting a trade, him having a back injury for the preseason.
He said, I no longer want to play for the Cowboys. Like, he didn't just request a trade. Yeah. He's like, I no longer want to be here.
Yeah, I don't even want to be here. And Jay, it's not really a this offseason issue because he's under contract to play. But is that the biggest thing that's just going to make the Cowboys worse? Because I feel like their actual moves are in solid. That's where I would put them. I'm like, those moves are solid. George Pickens is a bit of a drama queen, but okay. You've bolstered the defensive end. You've got rid of the massive contract for DeMarcus Lawrence and brought in some young defensive ends there as well. Like, yeah, they haven't got worse. People are like, oh, getting rid of Rico Dowdle and bringing in Javonte Williams. It's like, well, no, like that's comparable. Like they
might even be an upgrade, but it's not getting better.
Yeah. It's not getting miles, but it's not getting miles better. They're going with the analytics at the running back position of like running back is they basically got burned by Ezekiel Elliott and never want to fall for that again. So they're just like, all right, like we just won't commit anything at running back and just have a better O-line. I feel like the O-line has got better until the Guyton injury, but I mean the Guyton injury obviously is not as bad as we thought. Zach Martin has just retired as well, so we'll see kind of how the offensive line shakes out as well. But I would put them in solid. And then this Micah Parsons news comes out. What does that mean for the Dallas Cowboys going forward, Jay?
My thing is, and I guess you see it through a different lens because you're a Cowboys fan. I really feel like Jerry just gave up and accepted the fact that he's going to die before he ever wins another Super Bowl.
Yeah. Sell the fucking team then. Or like at least hand it over and go live on your yacht. Go to because I don't.
He can't get away from that spotlight. Like he can't. No. He's addicted to being in the spotlight, and I don't know. He can't get out of his own fucking way. Is one of his own problems, and he's a drama queen, and he doesn't know how to deal with the players so that they don't. I think there's some deep resentment from Dak. I think there's some deep resentment from Micah, and I don't think that shit ever gets fixed. I don't think it's like the old days where Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin love him.
Yeah, and we currently live in a world that's a total gerontocracy, and I don't want to get on this hill of politics and everything, but we just live in a world where old people get everything they fucking want, and young people just get screwed over and over again. That's the current world we live in. So guys like Jerry Jones are the reason for that, where it's well, I was amazing at this in the 90s
when I had Jimmy Johnson.
Because of how amazing, but because of how amazing healthcare was, because of how amazing healthcare is, I can keep on doing this for 20 years, no matter how much worse I fucking get at it. Right. It's but I was amazing in the 90s. I was amazing in the 90s. Let's keep doing it like it's the 90s. It's just no, fuck off. Just get out of the way. Go drop a bag at Howie Roseman's feet. He obviously won't accept it, but that's the biggest thing that Jerry Jones could do for the Dallas Cowboys is hire an actual general manager and stop running it like it's the 90s. But with Micah Parsons, I do think he stays if they drop the bag, and I do think they eventually drop the bag. Every player who has held out on the Dallas Cowboys for the past few years has got their bag.
How many players do you actually hear say, I don't want to be here anymore?
Exactly. And we were just chatting about this just before the show, about how great you can keep Micah Parsons because you can offer him generational wealth. That realistically, there will be teams that will offer him it as well, but how
go get 6 fucking picks for him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be there. It's a morale thing. We all have those. We've all worked with those people who get pay rises, become managers, and all of those kind of stuff, but they just don't want to be there, and it just drains the whole team. And I'm of the mind of look, if he just doesn't want to be there, and trade him this season before you lose him next season. He carries the injury risk, so I get maybe not paying him this season because of the injury. I do understand the business acumen of it, but the only reason this defense works is because of Micah Parsons. His speed, his pass rush is the reason we got the turnovers that we did under Dan Quinn. He's the reason that our cornerbacks gamble on every single play, and that only works because Micah Parsons there. So your whole defense is built around this. And when he wasn't there, you could tell. You can really tell. And look, it's a shame that Overshown got injured because it's a shame that Overshown seems to have this injury problem. If you go get 6 picks for Parsons and you still have Overshown, it's like, okay, we've got budget Parsons in the building. Overshown is like, we've got Micah Parsons at home. Like when you ask your mum to like go out for McDonald's and it's like, we've got food at home. Overshown is Micah Parsons at home. So that would have been fine, but he's injury prone as well. And Jay, I can't get over this, but I think the moves are relatively solid. Oh, the other thing is the coach was the weirdest pick of all time. Like they're coaching.
I don't hate Brian Schottenheimer. I
don't hate Schottenheimer. I just don't understand the process at all.
But that's another thing that makes me think Jerry's like, fuck it, I'm not winning one in this lifetime, another one in this lifetime.
Yeah. I don't understand the Schottenheimer hire. I didn't get the process behind it. Like he didn't get interviewed by anyone, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be terrible. And I don't think he'll be terrible. Again, I think middle of the road, solid.
Okay.
But
I don't want to get us booted, so I'm going to word this wisely. But I've seen a lot of Cowboys fans telling Jerry to go unalive himself.
Yeah, that's that's obviously too far, but just retire, man. Like, you don't even have to retire. You can just stop trying to be the GM. Like, be the owner. Just invite your boys to the suite and just get really drunk watching the team that you fucking own.
Or just pretend to be the GM and let Steven do it. Yes, something.
Yeah, but just like the empire that you've built is in front of you. Enjoy it. Just sit enjoying it. You don't have to do anything. Well, that's great.
Yeah, but Jerry's like the fucking one of the Siths on fucking Star Wars. Jerry's like fucking some fucking evil Jedi who's just trying to hang on.
Yeah, just sucking the power from everyone else around him. Jay, I nearly called this tier the Dallas Cowboys until I realized there were other teams that had got worse, that had got massively worse as well. So, and I do think the actual moves is here, but with the Micah Parsons,
I feel like their actual moves are, did you do anything?
Yeah, maybe did you do anything? Maybe solid. I feel like look, the big story actually is John Milton. And the fact that it sounds like that's a great move, and they might have found their quarterback to replace Dak Prescott. So like that, we could look back on this offseason and that it could, and Micah Parsons gets signed and it's all fine.
Pittsburgh.
And Milton comes in and plays, and is fucking amazing,
Pittsburgh should be trying to trade for fucking Micah right now.
Yeah, definitely. He's from Pennsylvania as well, isn't he? So
yeah, and look at how that nasty that defense would be. You got Rodgers for $10 million, and you're going to go with a rookie quarterback after this.
Yeah.
Go get you some Micah Parsons to go with T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward and Jalen Ramsey. Fuck.
Parsons and T.J. Watt, that would be ridiculous. Jay, the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs, obviously. They have signed Azeez Ojulari. I love Azeez Ojulari. Whenever I've seen him play for the Giants, he really pops off the screen, but he's not like game changer or anything. I just really like him. Adoree Jackson at cornerback, AJ Dillon at running back, which I hadn't actually realized had happened until I was think it's a great move. This. I think that's a great move. I didn't actually realize that had happened. Joshua Uche at linebacker, and they re-signed Zach Bourne at linebacker as well, which I think is their biggest move. Re-signing Zach Bourne because he was amazing. Jay, the Eagles have had some big name losses in Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and Mekhi Becton. Does this cause a potential issue for the Philadelphia Eagles? These big name losses.
No, what Milton Williams, good player. We don't know if he's great or not yet. We don't know, right?
Yeah,
still out. Not saying he isn't, but that interior line of the Eagles will be fine without him. Sweat's getting old. I don't think these losses are really going to hurt them. I think they already got guys in line to step in. I love the addition of AJ Dillon because that's just another big motherfucker to move that pile when you need to like get a yard or 3 or 4. Because he's not going to be. I mean, you got Saquon, right? Why get Saquon beat up on short yardage? We know he can make them.
Exactly.
But why? Why get him beat up on short yardage plays?
Yeah.
Bring in the mayor of Door County. There's no mayor of Door County, but they awarded him award to be the mayor of Door County in Wisconsin. So, yeah, honorary. That's the word I couldn't come up with. They gave him the key to Door County and made him the honorary mayor. But, yes, bring in A.J. Dillon. He's a monster. I mean, he's not going to get you 1,000 yards or anything, but if he's going to get you a nasty 500, 600, 700 yards in a season. I think that team's already nasty when it comes to the running game, right? I like Corey Jackson coming in at corner, but I think they're already. I love their cornerback room. So like whatever you do to make it better, good. But to be honest, when we look at the chart, it's kind of because we'll get to this at the end, but it's still kind of like, did you do anything? Did you?
Yeah. So I think we'll probably talk about them when we're deciding Super Bowl bound at the end.
Right.
Like when we move the best team up to Super Bowl up. But
it's a hard thing. Wait, that's a rough thing to say because you're saying to the Super Bowl champs, well, did you do anything? Like, I mean, that's kind of crazy, but it is. But they didn't need to do much, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I would. They're more drifting into solid. They're more drifting into solid than potential trouble. But I agree with you. It is. Did you do anything with the Landon Dickinson injury? They seem to have got away with that. He seems to be moving to start week 1, and obviously, if he's moving to start week 1, chances are he'll be in by week 3 at the latest, and that's fine. Like when you're there, I do think that the big moves, like the big losses for the Philadelphia Eagles, I do think the reason that a lot of those guys are big names is because they were Philadelphia Eagles last season. Like none of them were the best at the position for the Philadelphia. Like the reason that the reason that Milton Williams got the huge bag that he got was because he was an Eagle. Josh Sweat is the one where I'm like, okay, like that's a loss. We'll see how that goes. And I think that the Eagles could have added more to their defensive line. If we're being like, Jalen Carter is amazing, and Zach Bourne is amazing at linebacker, and just keeping Zach Bourne is good enough for the moves that they've done. I agree with you that Adoree Jackson coming in to be your third cornerback. Adoree Jackson is great and a veteran for that young cornerback room. I do think they could have added more at defensive end and losing Josh Sweat because the defensive end started to get, like the defensive line started to get a bit hit and miss towards the end of the regular season. And then in the offseason, Jalen Carter just took over. But when you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, that's probably going to happen relatively. But they could have added more at defensive end.
And I agree with you, but I also have faith that they have guys that they've developed that we're not already privy to, right? Like, because you know guys that people aren't going to know from following the Cowboys. I know depth chart guys that I'm excited that I think in the next couple years could be starters, that kind of thing. So there might be Eagles that we're not privy to that coaching staff is really high on, but I trust Howie Roseman so much.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where you get to. It's like you build up a bank of trust, right? And in Howie we trust, Moving on to the New York Giants, Jay. The major moves are Lil John Humphrey. This makes me sound like I'm calling him short, but Lil John Humphrey at wide receiver. Chauncey Goldston at defensive end, who I really like as a pickup for them, actually. Javon Holland at safety. Paulson Adebo at cornerback, and obviously Jameis Winston going in as their cornerback. Jay, who do you reckon starting at QB for the Giants? Obviously, a huge draft pick for them was Jackson Dart. And in the preseason, he's looked really good. So who's starting week 1, and do you think Jackson Dart eventually comes in?
Insiders say that Jackson Dart looks good too, but we all know who's starting this season. Like, it ain't even a question. I just want to know what weird-ass shit he's going to say because I don't know what goes with that, but we saw it the Seahawks, we saw it the Broncos. He says some weird shit, so we'll figure that out. But it's Russell Wilson. He's going to start. Jameis is the backup, no matter who the starting quarterback is. Does that make sense? If it's Jackson Dart at some point, or if it's Russell Wilson, Jameis is the backup.
Yeah, I agree. I can't believe I just said that. I left Russell Wilson off the major moves list. I just completely missed him.
Because it's not.
But
it's not. It's not a major move at all.
Russell Wilson becoming getting your starting quarterback is not the major move.
He's got no moves left. He doesn't have the speed left, and he's only got 2 throws: a rocket or a rainbow. He's not going to change life there. He's just going to keep them from losing every game, right? But with that said, I actually think they got fucking better this year. I do. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. So, I mean, just at quarterback alone, I think they're going to be better. So I'm not sure, but it's still almost like, besides Jackson Dart, if he pans out, did you do anything? But you're still going to be better. Yeah. So I don't know how you want to.
Yeah, I feel like the Giants can say that they're solid here, right? I feel like we can hit them in. That's a solid offseason because of Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart in the preseason games has looked really good, and the insiders say he looks really good. Russell Wilson probably still an upgrade on Daniel Jones. Jameis Winston probably an upgrade in Daniel Jones as well, just on raising the floor of the team a little. I think Russell Wilson and Malik Neighbors is a really decent fit. I feel like that's a fun fit,
Even if Daniel Jones balls out in the Colts, he was not a fit for the Giants. So that's where it's an upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they've upgraded. It's solid. They haven't done loads. There's no real massive game changes, but it's in solid. And it is weird seeing the New York Giants above the Philadelphia Eagles on a tier list. But, that's the nature of it. Jay, the Washington Commanders, they traded for Laramie Tunsil in a very strange trade, actually. I like it, but it was just
like
weird.
It too.
Yeah. Will Harris at safety, Javon Kinlaw at D-tackle, Bobby Wagner coming back at linebacker, Eddie Goldman at D-tackle, Jonathan Jones at cornerback, KJ Osborne at wide receiver, Jack Martin at defensive end, Michael Gallup coming in at wide receiver, and they also released Jonathan Allen at D-tackle, which I thought was a strange thing for them to do. Jay, are the Commanders fumbling their position here? Because obviously the big news coming out, and we've already alluded to it, is Terry McLaurin doesn't want to be there anymore.
Well, Terry said he wants to trade. He didn't say he doesn't want to be there. I think that's just a leverage move. I think Terry wants to be there. I think he just wants that bag. I think they'll figure out something before the start of the season. But minus the Terry McLaurin, if Terry McLaurin wasn't an issue, I think they got better. I like the position they're going in. I think they're just playing hardball with Terry McLaurin. And I think the problem is he's older. So they're like, you're older. But he's like, I balled out. And they're like, well, we're not going to pay you for what you did. We're going to pay you for what you're going to do. So I feel like there is a sweet spot that they will get to, because I think they're smart enough to know that you don't take him away from Jaden Daniels in his second year.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just sitting there, and Jaden Daniels has not fallen into your lap because they made the right pick and everything, but you sat there and Jaden Daniels is just this gift that the Commanders have got. And to be honest, for me, I'm surprised they haven't made bigger moves. Obviously, they added Deebo Samuel halfway through last season as well, and he'll be a season better on from his injury. I think it's, even if he doesn't get back to Deebo Samuel at the 49ers, he's still a good player, even if it's last
Michael Gallup
Samuels that shows up. And Michael Gallup is your third wide receiver. Again, another year off his injury. Yeah, maybe Luke McCaffrey is McCaffrey
and KJ Osborne's there too. I think all those guys are going to be jockeying for who's going to be the number 3.
I think KJ Osborne is KJ Osborne and Luke McCaffrey are like they're the slot, aren't they?
Yeah,
like they're slot. And then
KG
Michael
can
Gallup
play
will be
all
their
three,
third
but yes,
wideout.
he's mostly
Yeah.
KG can move around, but he's mostly a slot, and that's where he's
They'll sit in their
dangerous.
slot.
And he's dangerous at
Yeah.
the punt return too.
Yeah, I loved that. Yeah, I KJ Osborne often popped off the screen for the Vikings for me, but I love Luke McCaffrey. Like, he is so good. Zach Ertz at their tight end position as well, and they upgrade on the offensive line. My question is, what killed them last year is just not being like everything they had to do on the defensive side of the ball was to trouble, like what was to just cause trouble and deceive, because they didn't have the players on the defensive side of the ball just to man up and play, you know? Like, they don't have the players, especially in the secondary. They didn't really get much pass rush either. So they have the blitz, and they have to, Dan Quinn has to like think out the box to get there, and they don't have the players, and I'm not sure whether they've really raised that. For me, Jay, I think this is a solid one as well. I don't know about you.
I think they did. I think they did well in the draft too, though. So I think it depends on how many of those rookies. I think they got better, but I'm decent with solid too. Like, I'm decent.
I feel like if I compare it to what the Bears and the Vikings have done, I think the Bears and the Vikings have really raised their starting profile, and the Commanders are more kind of raising their depth in the offense, and like they haven't really got the starters on defense yet. So it's close. They're closer to definitely better than they are to have you done anything. They're definitely closer to definitely better. And I think everybody's going to be fighting over Jaden Daniels in fantasy drafts again this year. So I guess we'll see what happens there.
Well,
Jay, the
NFC on how high you draft a quarterback.
Exactly right. I'm going to surprise you again, Jay, and say I've been scouting Justin Field as the Jets quarterback again. I've been heavily thinking about Justin
I don't even
Fields
think you have to draft him. I think you just pick him up after the draft.
I've been trying to work out how far I can get him down on the list, and I guess we'll see. Jay, Atlanta Falcons, we're moving into the NFC South now, which I feel like we could buzz through because there's not a lot going on in any four of these teams. But the major moves are Leonard Floyd at defensive end, Morgan Fox at D tackle, Divine Diablo at linebacker, and Kirk Cousins remains on the roster at $10 million, which, I mean, the money was already sunk into Kirk Cousins, so you may as well keep him around, even if you're starting Penix. But Jay, are the Falcons just stuck because of what they did this season before in the quarterback room with the massive contract to Kirk Cousins and the fact that he didn't work out, and then Penix came in and played okay, like he played decently well?
Yeah, and they made that mistake, but also they're making it so that players are not going to want to re-sign there or be part of the team because they're seeing how they're doing Kirk Cousins, and they don't realize that players respect teams that respect veterans. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think that's going to hurt them. I don't think they got any better whatsoever, and I think Raheem Morris is an awful head coach, so I'm not sure where we even go with.
I think they've just got to sit at potential trouble because I don't think they've got worse. Like, they just haven't really done anything.
Okay, but they got worse. They got worse in the sense that Tampa and Carolina are better teams than them, right? So
Carolina are the team in this. I'm happy to put that. I'm happy to.
No, you can keep them where you are. I'm just saying I agree with that, but I think they're in trouble. But we have to wait and see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll stick there. Have you been watching the new quarterback? I think Kirk Cousins comes off very well in that. The new season of quarterback on Netflix.
I didn't.
It's been good.
I didn't like receiver, so I still haven't started the new quarterback one. And I finally, in the first time in a long time, have watching Hard Knocks. So,
I think Kirk Cousins comes off well in the new season of quarterback, it was very clear that they'd overcomplicated the offense at the start of the season. And I think it was clear from watching them, but even after watching quarterback, it made it even more clear that that's what had gone on. Jay, the New Orleans Saints have brought in as their major moves Brandon Cook from the Dallas Cowboys and Justin Reed. They also bring in Kellen Moore as head coach and Brandon Staley as defensive coordinator. Jay, what can the Saints have actually done to improve at this point during their rebuild? And did they get ridiculously lucky with Derek Carr retiring, which means they've saved 30 million plus in cap room, which gets them actually close to under the cap with the fact he retired?
Yeah, and I think this is simple. I think you can just put them right down in that bottom blue box and call it a day because they've absolutely got worse. Their quarterback room got worse. Chris Olave's got all these fucking head injuries. I don't know what they do. I think they're in a complete rebuild. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're lucky if they win like 6-7 games this year.
Yeah, I think like that quarterback room just looks ridiculous. Like there's like Tyler Slough looks okay. Spencer Rattler coming in, we were excited by him, but actually watching the tape wasn't great. And I think he could still play in a decent team, but the Saints aren't a decent team. I like the head coaching and the defensive coordinator moves. I think Brandon Staley as a defensive coordinator is not a terrible idea to try and bring him back into the fold after his terrible head coaching run. And Kellen Moore is worth and has been for a while.
The coaches. I just think they have zero talent.
Yeah, there's just nothing that they can do.
Kamara's old.
If you give a coach just the shit, there's just nothing that they can do because of the trouble that they've gotten themselves into with the cap. So this season, it's almost like just tear it down and start again.
I think you try to develop your young players. That's it.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering why they brought in Brandon Cooks. I'm like, what? Why?
Well, because you got to give the quarterback somebody to throw to if you want him to get better.
And if Olave is...
Alvin Kamara is great, but he's getting older and he's never been a bell cow. He doesn't carry the full load. So and they're going to have to run the ball. I don't know. It's going to, unless they surprise the shit out of me, I think it's going to be a shit show of a season I think the Saints fans are going to be Aints fans, and you might see bags back on their head before the season's over.
Yeah, definitely. Jay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers major moves are just basically their one move that wasn't from last season is Hassan Reddick at the outside linebacker. But also keeping Chris Godwin is a big move for them as well. Jay, for me,
didn't Godwin leave $30 million on the table to stay? Something ridiculous like that, bro.
Yeah. It's the way that Godwin stayed is also a big move for them. Jay, are the Bucs kind of moving forward by staying the same? Just adding Hassan Reddick and then remaining the same everywhere else is actually very, very good for them, right?
All right. I'm very sorry, Payne. You get so mad at me when I say this. They should have fired Todd Bowles. They should have fucking fired Todd Bowles and got an offensive head coach in there. But I do think they're better. I think they're the best in that division. And I think Baker's proved that he is a real NFL starting quarterback. And I think the Browns to this day are regretting not keeping Baker happy.
Yeah, and I think with them, keeping Baker in the building, keeping Baker happy, keeping that offensive line strong, keeping the wide receiver duo together, adding Hassan Reddick, which Hassan Reddick didn't have a great season last season, but he has loads of previous and he just didn't have the best build up to last season whatsoever. He immediately makes their defense better. Bucky Irving was amazing. Another season on of Bucky Irving. I think they've gotten better by staying the same. Jay, solid off-season, preseason. They've got better. They've kind of stayed the same. They're not infinitely better, but solid. Yeah. And finally, in the NFC South, we have the Carolina Panthers. Jay, I like what the Carolina Panthers have done. I like the way that they're rebuilding. Tashawn Wharton at D tackle, Trayvon Moore at safety was one of my guys in the draft, and injuries hit him at the Raiders, and I hope he gets that. Bobby Brown III at D tackle, and Rico Dowdle at running back, as well as a huge contract coming in for JC Horn. Jay, are they just building up their defense and run game to help out the resurgence of Bryce Young? Can't hear you, Jay.
Sorry, I was muted. The only bitch I have, I think I like the way they're building. The only bitch I have is the same thing I was saying earlier for another team is, how about you go get a number one receiver? How about you do that? How about you figure out how to help your young quarterback by getting him a number one receiver? But other than that, I like what they're doing, and I think they actually definitely got better because we watched them grow last season to the end of the season. So that in itself, I think, is definitely better because we went from watching a team that didn't look like it could lose to a couple college teams to a team that we're like, man, they're going to give everybody trouble. They might not win these games, but they're going to give everybody trouble going forward. So I think that was, for me, is why I think they're better.
Yeah, like I feel like last year they just rebuilt that culture, and just being another year on in that is just a big enough step in itself to say they've definitely got better. But then they've added some good pieces as well. Bryce Young is another year on. They've kind of if he's starting for you, then that does make good on that trade deal to trade up for him. Like, it was a bit expensive still, but it's not terrible anymore because he's actually still playing for you.
He's still going to be better than Caleb Williams, it looks like. So,
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, there was a guy who was saying, well, I mean, I'm not saying you didn't, but there was a guy screaming that Caleb Williams was the fucking fourth or fifth best quarterback in that draft and that Jaden Daniels should have went first. But, you know.
You were all you were massively on the Jaden Daniels hype train, which proved to be right.
I just watched that kid play in college and was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes my wife said to me, like, you know, we were talking and we were talking about NFL GMs and like running an office. And I said, it's like any other business. People get jobs that shouldn't. And I said, I'm not going to manage the cap. I'm not going to be able to run your team. But I bet you me and Maddie could run a fucking draft better than some of these fucking GMs.
I bet you if you just let us sit and just watch film, like, we'd be able to draft. I wouldn't know how to run a $1 billion budget. Like, I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
Correct.
But like, just let me sit down and watch players, because I feel like when it comes to draft season, I feel like we do a pretty decent job. You know, that I feel like we really excel in just sitting down and watching players.
And we get proved right a lot when we say no or yes to a player, right?
Yeah.
And then there is some players you just have to go, I think I still would have been right, but they went to the wrong team, because that does happen.
Yeah.
I think that really does happen.
Yeah. Jay, the San Francisco 49ers, after coming off a really rough season last season, they brought in Luke Farrell, who I think they are going to go a lot of two tight end sets going into this year. Richie Grant at safety, Jason Penn. Yeah. Richie Grant at all of their wide receivers are injured as well, aren't they? Richie Grant at safety, Jason Pennick at safety. They brought them in because they lose Telena Hufanga, who's the Broncos look amazing, but we'll go over them in the next show. Trey Brown at cornerback and Mac Jones at QB. Obviously, Jay, the big news was Brock Purdy's 5-year extension for $265 million. Surely their grade depends on how you think about that extension.
So is Mac Jones with the 49ers?
I saw he was with the 49ers.
Okay, because I'm looking at your list and I thought he was too, but you said losing, and then I was like, oh, does that mean they lost Mac Jones?
They lose Taylor Hufanga is what
okay.
But they gain Mac Jones, sorry.
I was gonna say I thought Mac Jones was a great signing for them, and then I thought, oh, am I wrong? Right? Dude, Brock Purdy, go get your money. You are a very solid quarterback. I think you got highly overpaid, but I am not mad at it because it is the market. But I think this is going to maybe sound stupid, but I do think Mac Jones might be better in that offense than Brock Purdy. But that's another conversation. You guys can call me crazy, 49ers fans. If you don't like it, hit it in the comments. I think they got a lot of injury issues at wide receiver. I don't think they did anything to fix the wide receiver. Their offensive line is just getting older. I like their team, and I still think they're going to be really tough. But at best, did you do anything for me?
For me, it's at best potential trouble. I think.
I can agree with that too. That's why I said at best for me. It's did you do anything?
Yeah,
but
I'm even hovering around to have gotten worse.
Okay.
But I don't think we can definitely say. So
the only reason I say hold off is because they do have Kittle, McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk's coming back.
Yeah.
And the big thing is Robert Saleh back in that defense, getting his guys back. So I think they're still going to be a tough team, but I don't put them as a Super Bowl contender anymore.
Yeah, I think the Robert Saleh move.
But I don't think they're Super Bowl. I think their Super Bowl window shut for right now. I do think they have enough talent to reopen it within the next year or two.
Yeah, I think the Robert Saleh move, I think bringing back Robert Saleh into defensive coordinator is a huge move for them. And I think their defense will get better from just having that. I think they've lost a lot of big players. I think they're seriously injured and key positions injured as well. And I don't know. I don't think that Mac Jones.
Brandon Ayuk ain't coming back till week 6.
Yeah. I don't think that Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy in the system. I feel like Brock Purdy is better than Mac Jones, but it's the money. Is the reason that they haven't been able to rebuild, and is the reason they haven't been able to go get that wide receiver because they're now paying. They're not just paying Kittle and McCaffrey and Trent Williams, who are old, and Ayuk, who are old and injury prone and rarely play 10 games in a season, never mind going all the way up to 17. At that point, and now they're playing Brock Purdy as well. Whereas Mac Jones, I do think has a similar skill set to Brock Purdy, will come into that system and was just unlucky to be drafted in the first round. Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, he's like, whoa, isn't this guy amazing? But Mac Jones, with a much worse team for the Patriots in his first year, looked decent, in a much worse team as well.
He's got a better arm. And it's not a shot at Purdy, but Mac Jones got more of a cannon. And to me, I always said this, you'll remember, I just said he's a more athletic Kirk Cousins. And I think they always wanted Kirk Cousins in San Francisco. It just never came because they either had another quarterback or whatever. And so I just thought Mac Jones, but I get it. You're in a spot. You got to pay Brock Purdy. You got to. So I get it.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Brock Purdy. I don't want that to be Brock Purdy hate. I'm a fan of Brock Purdy. I hope he plays great for 20 years. The kid seems amazing. He doesn't give a fuck about fashion. He doesn't give a fuck about spending money. This kid is just football. So I really like Brock Purdy, but I think
I think it's not even necessarily the overpayment. It's just that in the system of the 49ers, do you need to ever pay a quarterback? Do you ever really realistically need to drop a big bag? While you've got Kyle Shanahan there. Kyle Shanahan is your big bag for the quarterback room.
I agree because I think about this with the Vikings. Do you pay, even if JJ's great, do you pay him? Or do you just trust that Kevin O'Connell can grab another guy and develop him?
Yeah, exactly. It's are we moving into, especially in the NFC, I feel like we're moving into this idea because the AFC have all the best quarterbacks who just can win you a game by themselves.
What do you
Mahomes,
say? You pay your top
Burrow,
10?
Allen.
What do you say? You pay your top 10, everybody else you just shuffle and keep it moving.
Dependent on, that would be in the owner's best interest because that actually fixes the market on quarterbacks for the first time. Like, we're paying too far down the roster on quarterbacks. To be honest, I'm top 5 to top 7. Like,
Okay.
are the guys that are really there, those guys that'll just go out and win you a game.
And there will always be the exception who fits perfectly to their team. Like Jared Goff to the Lions, you just pay him. Just pay him.
Jalen Hurts to the Eagles.
Yes,
like, you know, like that you just fit perfectly, so we'll just pay, and that's fine. And I suppose you could say that happens with Brock Purdy, where it's like he is just the perfect fit. However, the reason he's the perfect fit, it's the reason he's the perfect fit. Like, the reason he's the perfect fit is because of how just elite they just put everyone around you.
Yeah.
And if you can't make everyone elite that they put around you because you're paying him, then that means the system no longer fits. And it's just
Kyle Shanahan literally made Jimmy Garoppolo look like he was an NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah, because that's what I was just exactly. That's yeah. So I like Brock Purdy as well. I think that Brock Purdy deserves to get paid.
He won games with Jonathan Bethel. Like, seriously.
It's like I feel like they paid Brock Purdy because it's what you're meant to do.
And he's a good guy. And if you're going to pay somebody, you know, he's a team guy. And to be honest, that contract set up where it's pretty much a year-to-year deal. It's a 2-year deal and then year-to-year after that. So
yeah, it's not a horrific, like, it's not a horrific team deal or anything either. Like, it's not that bad. It's just I think the 49ers would potentially be in, like, have you done anything? But then they've got all of those injuries, and then the payment of Brock Purdy kind of changes the structure that they make around their team whilst the team's getting a lot older. Like, they're going to have to draft really well. And they haven't really drafted particularly well in recent years either. So, yeah, so they're around. They're around potential trouble. Jay, teams whose offseason I've really enjoyed and I really like. The Seattle Seahawks. Sam Darnold coming in at quarterback. They draft Jalen Milroe, who I really like, as a replacement for Darnold as well. Cooper Kupp at wide receiver. Josh Jones at Go on.
Did you watch him play? Because I'll let you finish. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm going to go off on a tangent, so go ahead.
Yeah, Josh Jones, offensive tackle. They then draft Greg Zabel, who I think was one of the better picks in the draft. Marcus Valdes-Scantling comes in to replace the field threat of Lockett, who wasn't playing right at the end, and they trade DK Metcalf as well, who didn't really want to be in Seattle anymore either. And they bring on DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys as well. Jay, was your tangent about Cooper Kupp and the fact that he looks like he's running in cement?
No, I think Cooper Kupp will be fine.
Okay.
I think MVS will be fine. I think they're vets and they'll figure it out. My thing was you and the Jalen Milroe comment. Did you watch him play? He cannot throw. He overthrew a dude by 30 fucking yards in that preseason game. And I'm not even exaggerating. He overthrew him by 30 yards.
Yeah.
But he is so athletic that I want him to play. And I hate to be this guy because I never do this. I never tell a guy to change positions, but like, I want to see this guy in the backfield getting a pitch. I want to see this guy fucking taking kickoffs. I want to see this guy punt returning. Like, he is so electric that I think you got to get him the ball. But as a quarterback, I am not sold on this kid at all.
Yeah, I'm not sold on him, and I don't think you need to be sold on him to start. I don't think I ever wanted, because I've been high on Jalen Milroe coming out, and it's like I don't ever want him to start in his first, maybe even his second season. Really, I just think he raises the floor if Sam Darnold.
He might be a guy who needs the Aaron Rodgers route of 3 years. Not that Aaron needed 3 years, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's just having a guy like that as your backup QB.
No, give him
raises the floor of the backup QB. And the first head coach who works out gadget quarterbacks. I know the Saints kind of did it with Taysom Hill, but like, he never threw really. Like, the first guy who works out gadget quarterbacks is going to be a very well-paid man, you know, because we're getting more and more with these toolsy quarterbacks. We're getting more and more to the stage where it's like, do you need starting quarterbacks? Can we just have game time decisions on quarterbacks, like, and just rotate them in and out. And the first guy who works that out is in the money.
You line Jalen Milroe up at receiver, and you have him do a fucking sweep. A jet sweep so fast, right? And athletic. You do that 2 or 3 times, and then you have him run a fucking fake sweep go route. Oh, it's over. It's over.
Even like, oh, what you mean? Jalen Milroe runs the fake sweep into the go route,
yes. Or right, okay.
I don't dislike that.
NVS running a go route and you fake that pitch and turn around. I mean, you could play so much stuff off of that kid's athleticism. Like I say, if you want to help your team, get him the ball. And yes, development as a quarterback, but I don't know if you might be too old, but Cordell Stewart, that's the guy. Slash right there. That's the guy. You use him as slash because he didn't start as a quarterback for like 3 or 4 years, but he came in and played receiver and running back and quarterback. But I'm with you. I like what the Seahawks did. Yeah. And
I think when you see DK Metcalf, sorry,
I don't know if he's an upgrade or not though, because without Kevin O'Connell, I got to see him play.
So when you see DK Metcalf leaving and you see Tyler Lockett released and you see Geno Smith leaving, you think, oh my God, that's their entire offense gone. But look, Sam Darnold in a good system clearly can play football. Like
with a good running back.
The only time that Sam Darnold has actually looked bad is when he's been a New York Jet, which lots of people look bad when they've been a New York Jet. You know, like at the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold was fine. Sam Darnold was never the problem in Carolina. It's just he doesn't have anyone. He just didn't have anyone in Carolina to actually like do anything. But he never looked bad. He looked terrible as a Jet, but he didn't look bad as a Panther. He then looked amazing. The one game that he played for the 49ers, he looked pretty good. And then he has an amazing season for the Vikings as well. Like, there is no reason to think that Sam Darnold isn't just a solid quarterback. Like a solid middle of the road, will always have a starting job in the NFL. And in my opinion, that makes him a bit better than Geno Smith. Like, I like Geno Smith, but it's taken Geno Smith like 6, 7, 8 years to get to like a decent point. And he's played in decent situations before. However, Geno also has that thing of being at a terrible team to start and then having to work his way out from there as well. So, you know, maybe it's a linear move, but when you look at the pay discrepancy, like Geno Smith is getting paid way more than Sam Darnold in things like guaranteed money. Like Sam Darnold is basically a year-to-year deal. They're quite comparative in pay, but then Geno Smith in guaranteed money is getting way, way, way more, like almost double.
I also think they got worse at receiver, but they're still going to be fine.
It's like they got worse at receiver, but like Cooper Kupp is worse than DK Metcalf, and Valdez-Scantling, Tyler Lockett just didn't want to get hit like by the end of the time they're in Seattle, but you know, but he's still probably a bit better than Valdez-Scantling. But it's Jackson Smith and Jigba now taking the number one. Like, is Jackson Smith and Jigba at number one better than DK Metcalf at number one? Like, that's an interesting question.
You got to prove that.
And it's a maybe.
Though. You got to prove that.
Where they have definitely got better is on the defensive end and their offensive line. They've got much better in the trenches going over. For me, Jay, the Seahawks are definitely better. Do you think they're more solid?
I'll go with definitely better. I mean, because they put themselves in such a weird situation, I think they're going to get a little more credit for bailing themselves out of it. But, you know.
Yeah, it's like they put themselves in a bit of a weird and risky situation. Like, but I feel like they've done well getting out of that. Jay, the Rams, like, the Rams' offensive line has just been completely decimated and completely injured. Their big major moves are Nate Landman at linebacker, Poona Ford at D-tackle, Devontae Adams coming in at wide receiver is really the only major move. Like, when the major moves are Nate Landman and Poona Ford, you know they've not made many moves, but Devontae Adams coming in at wide receiver is big for them. Matthew Stafford is currently not playing. is currently not training because of a back injury. Left tackle has got blood clots, so is missing as well.
This
I
is
like what
simple
they've
for
done.
me.
Go on.
Sorry,
for it.
it was just, it's simple for me. Matthew Stafford has a back injury, and I know he's a warrior, but for me, that alone puts them in potential trouble.
Yeah, I agree. And
Stetson Bennett
I
been
think
looking good, though. Stetson Bennett took a year off, and he's looking pretty good. All 29 years old, whatever he is, but
the 29-year-old rookie. I know he's not a rookie, but hasn't really played it down. Like, with the Rams going into last season, their actual offensive moves for me puts them on a par with the Bucs, right? Where it's like bringing in a bit of experience for that young defensive line makes sense. Bringing in Devontae Adams makes sense to go along with Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell as well. Like, that makes a lot of sense to me. Bringing in Devontae Adams to do Cooper Kupp's job, basically, that makes loads and loads of sense. So actually, I think they're more in a realm with the Bucs where it's like getting better by staying the same and just adding one or two players. But with the injuries now, and when Matthew Stafford's injured, you're going to struggle. And I think until we see Matthew Stafford come out without the back injury, until we find out what we know about the blood clots from the left tackle, it has to be potential trouble. And as soon as they play, they move into solid. Maybe even definitely better because their rookies are another year on.
I think they have a shot at the Super Bowl, but I still think if Matthew Stafford's not there, in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. They were a couple of plays away from the Super Bowl last year, and they haven't gotten worse apart from injuries. So until we see what those injuries look like, we can't really make a judgment on the Rams. And Jay, our final team today, before we do the AFC in our next show, is the Arizona Cardinals. They bring in Delvin Tomlinson at DN, Josh Sweat at DN, LJ Collier at D tackle, Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Jay, will the Cardinals finally make the big step forward? Will they finally do it? I feel like I've been buzzing about the Cardinals and what they do every offseason, and then they don't make that quite step up. Kyler Murray is a whole nother year on from his injury and looked much better last year as well. Jay, what do we think about the Arizona Cardinals?
I think they'll be better because they beefed up their defensive line, and that was a big problem for them. And I know people hate on their corners, but it's really hard to cover a guy for like fucking 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think the defensive line, I think they definitely got better. I don't know how much better, but I think they definitely got better because
I think it has to go all the way up to definitely got better, right? Because it's almost a change in mentality as well. It's like they grew up. It's like they've grown up. It's like they've gone, okay, like we can't just keep drafting freaks at all the defensive positions. So let's just go get two of the best and most trusty players to put on defensive end, right? And go get Josh Sweat and Delvin Tomlinson.
I also think it's the reverse on how you build a team. Like now, okay, it used to be build up your defense and then build your offense. I don't think the NFL is that way anymore. I think the NFL is get your offense set and build your defense. And so I think they did it that way. And I think they're very comfortable with their offense. So they went and stuck resources into their defense, which they needed to do. And Marvin Harrison is just another year into the system. You know what I mean? They're just going to keep it rolling. I think they'll be fine. And I think their defensive line got better. So we'll see how much better do they play. I don't know. But I think they made the right moves to get better.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's just like a change of mentality as well. And another year on of Kyler Williams, another year on of Marvin Harrison Jr., and another year of Trent McBride looking better at tight end. Like Trent McBride isn't going to go with only one touchdown this year. You know, like
that was wild.
That's just not going to happen. That was just a weird thing that happened. That's just not going to happen again this year. So. I like the Cardinals going into the season to be better. That doesn't mean they're coming from a relatively low standpoint, but I do like them to be better. Jay, shall we fix this list and fill in these top two boxes? They have to only be one. So Super Bowl bound is the best team in the NFC, even if they've not had an amazing offseason. And the most improved can only be one because it's superlative. I hate when people do tier lists and put things like the most improved and then have 3 or 4 people in it because it's a superlative. It's one most, So Jay, should we do most improved first? I know where you're going to go with it.
Just to be argumentative, Maddie, on your point, it could have been the most improved of each division, but it's not.
It could have been the most improved of each division. I do,
but it's not.
That does make sense. Yeah.
So why don't I just give you the teams I think have a shot at the Super Bowl? Tell me if you agree, want to add anybody, and we'll discuss them quick.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think definitely we got to talk about the Eagles. You got to talk about the Lions. You got to talk about the Rams, and you got to talk about the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. So I think
I might even throw the Packers in there, but I think the bottom.
Yeah, it's like I think the Rams, the Rams we don't know until we see what happens with the injuries. The Lions we don't know until to say they're Super Bowl bound, we don't know until we see what happens with the
Vikings. You don't know until you see JJ McCarthy.
The Vikings you don't know until you see JJ McCarthy, which leaves us with, unfortunately,
the Super Bowl champs,
the Philadelphia Eagles, who are still, even though they've got better by staying solid. And they've just really not done much. They've actually lost players, but we know they've got those next guys up. The Super Bowl
and they got Saquon Barkley,
which always helps, right? When you have Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown on the same team, that's always going to help.
Not even the rest of my life, the rest of your young ass life, you are going to see highlights every fucking year of Saquon Barkley spinning that guy and then backwards jumping over him and. Forever.
Yeah, exactly. And Jay, what about your most improved? I feel like we have to select from the definitely better realm here. So the Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings, the Carolina Panthers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals. Who is your most improved?
Now you could completely tell me if you think I'm off the rails here, because I don't even think it's close. I think it's the Vikings. I think what they did with that defensive line. I think that the fact that they brought in Jordan Mason, the wide receiver core, I love their draft. I think defensive, offensive line alone, but that's just me. I think Kawasi, his first draft sucked balls. I think he was fine after that, but the worst first draft. But I think his biggest moves were finding gems in the fucking free agency market. Like Van Ginkel, like fucking Jonathan Grenard a year ago. Now you bring in Allen and Hargrave. You bring in Kelly and Fries. You draft. You have two really good drafts in a row. I don't know. I think that the Vikings, but you could tell me if you disagree.
I feel like the one caveat for the Vikings is if JJ McCarthy sucks. Then
but do you think any quarterback with Kevin O'Connell actually will suck? They might not be great, but I don't think they're going to suck.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The only thing that derails this is if they suck, and I don't think that JJ McCarthy is a bad quarterback anyway. I was relatively excited about him coming out. I was quite down on him at the beginning of the draft because, Michigan quarterback, like how much was he being taken care of? And then you just go watch him and you're like, well, hang on. He makes all the right throws. Michigan ran the ball so often that, how much of a rhythm does he get into throwing? And that's why I feel like the Vikings might end up doing as well. Like they'll make that same kind of thing. I agree with you. I think the Vikings are the most improved just with getting that good in the trenches to start.
Who would you had at the second most improved? Because I think we agree on this, but I want to ask you.
I think for me, it would be the Bears. I think would put the second most improved just because of the coaching hire and it's already an improvement from previous. Like they have, even if Caleb Williams doesn't step up into it, they have made the moves to make it easier for Caleb Williams to step up into the upper echelon. Who have you?
I definitely respect the reason why, and I don't disagree with you. But for me, it's the Cardinals because they're fixing a defense, which was their only weakness last year that we bitched about all the time. So for me, and the only reason I'm saying is I think this will vault the Cardinals into playoff talks where I don't think the Bears sniff the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and I mean the Cardinals in a
But I get why
it's
you
weird
said
to
the
say a
Bears.
division with the it's weird to say the division with the Rams and the 49ers and the Seahawks in it is easier, but compared to the NFC North, like the NFC North is stacked.
I think
It's absolutely stacked.
We both expect the 49ers to take a step back, and we have no idea how the Seahawks will gel.
Yeah, and we don't know how the Rams are going to come out.
I'm
Realistically, with the injury,
fights through it.
It's just the injuries.
Monster.
Yeah, but even fighting through a back injury, like you're still not. Like Joe Burrow last season,
with
Joe Burrow last
season.
but Joe Burrow last season fighting through his wrist injury for the first half of the season wasn't incredible. Like you're not incredible. You know,
I'm now of the belief that Joe Burrow is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, but that's okay.
Oh well, I feel like we'll have to talk about that before the season. We should probably clip that up, but we'll chat about that another time.
I said it.
Jay, I hope you enjoyed the tier ranking system. I thought that was quite fun.
It was great.
That went well. I thought that was good. We'll do it again with the AFC. Just a quick review of what we've said. We've said the best team in the NFC, despite what's happened this offseason, is the Philadelphia Eagles. Our most improved team of this offseason and preseason is the Minnesota Vikings. Teams that have definitely got better are the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals. Our solid offseason and preseason teams, so have got better but not made huge moves, is the New York Giants, the Washington Commanders, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did you really do anything in there? We had the Eagles, but you know they're up to being our Super Bowl bound from the NFC. So we just had the Green Bay Packers in there. Lots of moves in the NFC. Potential trouble. This doesn't mean that we think they're going to be awful. There's just serious question marks that need to be answered. The Lions, the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Rams. And our teams that have definitely gotten worse are unfortunately my Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. And I mean, the New Orleans Saints definitely getting worse. That's from a pretty low bar.
And the potential trouble, there's 3 teams in there that I think could make the playoffs, right? So
it's like they could, yeah, exactly. So it's like it's potential trouble. Like the key is potential. Yeah. Oh, it's very difficult to when you start the season to say teams have definitely gotten worse because everybody gets excited about all of their moves, and it's difficult to know if any of the moves work or not. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I guess it's that time we get up out of here. But before we do, I'm going to let you guys know. You see it behind me. Same host, same show, new channel this Friday. First episode of the playlist will be airing on Yankee and the Brit. We are breaking down the battle between Iron Solomon and, I just forgot. Rum Nitty. Sorry, Rum Nitty. And we have guest Cam B. If you're into the battle rap world, you know that she's big into breaking down battles. She's part of the groups that score battles, so she's brings a lot to the show. Also, go get your Cardio is Key Sam K edition autograph on the back. You got the Zuel MMA Underground, all at zuelworld.com, and you can go get my shirt, the One World, One Love shirt, at zuelworld.com, and Buddy V's got a bunch of other really cool shit. My wife just got a really cool shirt from him. So make sure you go over and support Buddy V at zuel-world.com. And one last thing. I was shitty with it before. I'm staying up on it now. We are on Spotify. Make sure you go follow it. I just uploaded a bunch of previous episodes, the catalog from the playlist. Yesterday's MMA Underground went up there. And by tomorrow, this episode of the Yankee and the Brit Football Talk will be up there also. And I'm being long-winded. So with that, I will say one world, one love, deuces.
Cheerio.